Hello, comrades. Welcome back to Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. My name, of course, is Old Potato. Our first ever processed bauxite ore aggregate ship is leaving the harbor, and this feels like a real milestone, to be honest. The first real point where I think that we have a really good chance of actually making money on some of our ruble-based exports. It's very, very exciting. At the same time, we're continuing to load our raw bauxite boats up as well. And of course, we are doing a heck of a lot of processing in the bauxite facilities. Now, a couple of things that we probably want to sort over the course of this episode here. First and foremost, we want to ensure that at all costs we have a robust and strong tram network. We absolutely categorically do not want to see a situation where all of the people in Aluminov just end up dying. I mean, you know, there is a chance, but we probably want to construct a couple of additional prefab flats and make sure that we have got a large workforce that is ready and equipped to work at the alumina plant and furthermore the aluminium plant when these both come online. And actually, tell you what, have I started working on the aluminium plant? I haven't even started working on the aluminium plant. I think that I didn't build this on purpose, just because it would be a very, very expensive construction project. And indeed, it will be a very, very expensive construction project. So, you know what? Let's connect it up and let's start work on it. There doesn't seem to be much point in holding off. I mean, we're fine for dollars, you know? Oh my goodness, 900,000 rubles to build this aluminum plant? I'm saying it too now. Aluminium. Goodness gracious me, Potato. Get it through your skull. Aluminium. Yeah, so 914,000. We're not going to auto-build that. That's ridiculous. Thank you very much to everyone's comments over the course of the last episode. One thing that was very, very important to note is that this bauxite mine isn't actually connected up. So what's happened, weirdly, I think, is the bug has occurred where it probably showed green for this connection and then just didn't want to connect up, and of course now we do not have the option to connect up. I'm gonna see if we can plonk down a modded conveyor pipe engine here, although I have pretty much no faith that this is actually gonna work. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that this is just gonna have to be completely repositioned, but that's okay. We can do that. We should probably do that just as a first priority here. Let's move these things over to here. There we go. We'll just move the machines and we will redeploy them. This really shouldn't cost us that much money and or time. But we will do that just to ensure that we're able to get one more bauxite mine completely up and running. Because, you know, to be fair, I did kind of think that it was already up and running, but apparently it wasn't. So there we are. That's the world in which we live. Anyway, so that was one comment that I really, really enjoyed, and definitely something that we want to try and get fixed as quickly as possible. And to be honest, if we can expand our aluminium mining area, then I would be very, very keen to do so. What's going on here? Disneylandovsk fire. There is no doubt that a fire truck will be able to access this hotel. Yep, we should be completely fine. Everything in Disneylandovsk is actually looking really, really, really good. We are without a power supply here, which is rather a travesty. And in fact, power is one of those things that I really do think that we should probably try and look to fixing at some point over the course of this episode, because this is just a joke. This is an absolute bloomin' joke, and it is not excellent. It is far from excellent how frequently we are running into power issues over here. I almost wonder if we can perhaps fix this issue. Now, there were a couple of great suggestions that were had in the comments, as I say, of the last video. One which I really liked was using this aggregate harbor to export uranium ore. Once we are done exporting all of the bauxite here. Let me have a little look for uranium sources around this map. So bauxite source that we're currently utilizing is this one over here, obviously. Uranium sources, they're a little bit more rare. But there is one, looks like over here, and probably more usefully on the other side of Iron Excavia. That might be an interesting place. It's just unfortunate that there are maybe this one over here, I guess, next to, I think this is next to Krudnovsky. Yeah, okay. So there is, you know, there is the potential perhaps to use the the aggregate export harbor for uranium instead of bauxite. And to be honest, that is something that I do want to do. I do think that that would be a great idea. And when we eventually go down the nuclear route, which inevitably will happen, frankly, it has to happen. I'm contractually obliged to make sure that it does happen. When it does happen, you know, we're probably going to want to see if we can try and make a little bit of money from uranium ore as well. So no downside really there. But yeah. Power. Having one power plant is really, really bad, and we want to try and do better. Now we have a couple of options. Let's chat about them as soon as I stick down another bauxite mine. There we go. I mean, that looks fine. However, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to squeeze a road down the center here. That is what I rather worry about. I mean, that's actually okay, right? Yeah, that's actually completely fine. Yeah, that's actually very, very okay with me. Yeah, okay, that's perfect, and it's actually, this time, looks like it's zoned the conveyor. So let's get that all built, 19,000 rubles. Very, very little money. Is there any chance that we can maybe squeeze another bauxite mine in here? If we could squeeze another bauxite mine in here, it would be lovely, but at the end of the day, I really don't think that we can, because we don't have the conveyor slots, and we are a little bit pressed for space. Alternatively, we don't necessarily have to export it with conveyor belt. We could export it with trucks, but I don't think that I really want to mess with that. This area is also still ripe with bauxite mines, bauxite veins, I should say. I almost kind of want to place this down. Can I see if I can maybe tighten this road up, and then we can just add more bauxite mines? I don't know why, but I have fallen in love with aluminium in a major, major, major way, and I'm kind of loving it. So yeah, power supply. This is a freaking disaster. It is honestly probably what's leading to a lot of our problems. I would imagine, because as soon as the power goes out, deaths just go way up. I mean, last month deaths were actually okay, but I mean, it stops absolutely everything. Are we okay for hospitals? Yeah, we're okay for doctors in the hospital. That's fine. I think maybe we just need to invite more people to come work here. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, okay, so it's gonna take our finances down into a little bit of a precarious position, but that's actually fine. It's actually completely okay. Yeah, I'm just really aggrieved. Very aggrieved at the whole thing. What we should do is we should start construction up again of the Kolovskaysky coal power plant number 2. I'm not really convinced that this is going to be the be-all and end-all for us, hence why I want to talk about power alternatives, and I actually legitimately do have a good alternative, as opposed to just coal power. That's right, you heard it here first, I'm going to try to use a building that I've never actually used before, and this is exciting for a couple of reasons. First of all, we're going to build the power plant somewhat near Turistovsky. Right now, Turistovsky, I think, is far and away our strongest city. It's got plenty of spare capacity. This is a disaster. Why on earth is this excavator taking Turistovsky gravel mine? Oh, I see. It's gone to fill up. It's gone to fill up at the petrol station all the way over there. That's fine. Anyway, what I'm thinking of actually doing is using, for the first time ever, a modded power plant. And we've got 3 options. We've got the hydro power plant, which is very exciting, and I absolutely categorically want to do that. However, we do kind of have a lot of water-based obligations, so maybe not possible. It's a shame because this river does look tantalizingly perfect for a hydro power plant. I will say that. I mean, look at it. It's straight up, like, right there. I mean, if I do that, will that absolutely torpedo all of the boat pathing? Will it? I kind of feel like it probably will. Also, let's have a little look at the high power connections here. Cannot end above water. Yeah, so this is kind of a little bit of a weird modded structure because at the moment the game doesn't allow for... It doesn't allow for structures to be positioned at both ends of the water. So we actually kind of have to shrink the river a little bit to ensure that this side ends up being on the land. Yeah, because you can't place down things on two different banks. Anyway, this is not going to be possible, I don't think, because we just have, you know, we have too much stuff. We have too much stuff coming in here. We are still without a power supply. How on this planet is this not working? I am just in a state of absolute incredulity that this is refusing to work. How many buses do we have on this line? We've got 6 buses on this freaking line, and we're still not able to output enough. That's just absolutely incredible. Anyway, let me get to the point that I was trying to make. Anyway, modded power structures, we have 3. Bitumen power plant, large coal power plant, and also the hydro power plant. I would like very much to get the hydro power plant. Doesn't look like it outputs that much power, by the way. 925 megawatt hours of power. So what I'm actually interested in is the bitumen power plant. That's right, because if you will recall, ladies and gents, we do in fact have a massive supply of bitumen right over here, and it's looking pretty darn good. Of course, there is also a bus stop over here as well, 194 meters in order to get to the rail construction office. So really, when you think about it, all we really need to do is take up this road. There we go. Take up this road, zone a bitumen power plant, probably in this vicinity. Let's maybe go a little bit further out, just in case we want to end up sticking a depot in here or something to link up to the rail construction office. I very much doubt that we'll ever want to do that, but at least it's an option. And then we're going to place this down, and then we're going to see if we can try and build this ASAP. In order to facilitate the quick building, we're going to build a dirt road so the construction offices can immediately work. Now, I'm a little bit optimistic here that we can build this all locally and we can build it all really, really quickly. There's a lot of resources that are required for the construction. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate that fact. However, there are a lot of construction offices here, and we got a lot of really, really advanced machinery that can hopefully jump right on into building and hopefully end up giving us exactly what we're after, and that is an entirely brand new power plant. Now, the other thing that I need to build, and I'm less convinced that this is going to work in the way that I would like it to work, is a direct bitumen connection to the power plants. It actually works in one fell swoop. I simply don't believe it. Okay, well, let's zone that as well. Let's zone that as well, and let's see what the heck happens. We've got 4 construction offices that are going to be on the job here. Now, I'm optimistic that this is going to be a quick build. However, it could very well end up being a long, dirty build. It is a bitumen power plant after all. A long, dirty build is not out with the question for sure. Right, are we moving more people to the coal power plant? I think that we are. I think that we are, and that is good. Also, something else maybe that we should look at. I know that I've already built a little bit of this coal power plant, not very much, but I wonder, I mean, I've got the modded coal power plant. I've got the large modded coal power plant. Maybe we want to go in on that. Also, are we struggling to process all of this coal? We are struggling to process all of this coal for some obscene reason. We're not producing enough coal. We're not producing anywhere near enough coal. Okay, we gotta crank it up. We gotta crank it up. We gotta crank it up. What's the pollution monitoring system saying? Oh, it's saying bad things. Oh, it's saying very, very bad things. Oh, this is a bad place to be. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, what's the maximum average lifespan? 55 years old. Ooh, I do not like that. I do not like that very much at all. Okay, I think that we need to build out into this area so as to avoid the, I guess, den of pollution that we seem to be encountering over in our industrial estate. I mean, look, we knew that this would be the case. This is coming as a surprise to absolutely nobody. But, you know, it still is happening. We still need to address it. Either way, what we're going to do is we're going to double down on our coal extraction. Our coal mine is going to be working double time to ensure that we're able to get just a little bit more coal. And then what I think that we're going to do is we're actually going to start work on an entirely brand new neighborhood over here, which is hopefully going to be far enough away from the pollution so as to not impact things altogether too much. This is a long-term project. You know, short-term, I think we're going to just continue to throw people into the coal mines, rather literally. But yeah, we'll try this. We'll try this. And we're gonna let, hopefully, we're gonna let all of the construction offices in the vicinity just do their thing, and eventually we will end up with a neighborhood that is at least somewhat free of pollution. Okay, let's get that in there. Let's get a bus stop over here. A big bus stop? Yeah, just a regular bus stop I think would be just fine. Okay, so that'll be grand. Again, all of this is gonna be built by construction offices, and we're gonna need to get some equipment for citizens down here. I don't know, small shopping center. Sounds like a good idea to me. I've got to be able to squeeze this in here. I refuse to countenance a possibility where that's not gonna be happening. Alrighty, what's next? An extra little bit of road, perhaps. Bring this down here, sure. And then we do need to get, like, schools and whatnot. But that's probably going to require a little bit of cable maneuvering. And I don't really want to maneuver cables altogether too much. So we're just going to sort of leave that there for now. Okay, so bitumen power plant is the short-term solution to this. As you can see, already, look at this. We got loads of stuff happening over here. That's what we like to see. Let's increase the maximum number of workers that can actually work here. Yeah. So that's gonna be very, very large. Turistovsky really is the only thing that we've got going for us at the moment. But I will say it's looking excellent. It's looking really, really, really good. Also, you know what we should do in Turistovsky? I'm just noticing all of these places are yeah, we're restricting our sport numbers, unfortunately. But the good news is that I have brand new modded gyms installed, which is not in gym. Why am I it's in sports playground. There we go. Gym 3, I think, is what we're after. So let's see if we can try and zone a brand new gym. That's a clinic, isn't it? Yeah, let's zone a brand new gym. I almost wonder if it's perhaps destroying this, you know, historic neighborhood over here in order to place down a brand new gym. I actually straight up think that it probably is. Let's demolish that. Let's demolish that. Disconnect this. I don't know where these people are going. They're probably going somewhere else, or maybe they're just being destroyed in their house demolition process. I don't know. This is very, very precarious using the demolition tool to get rid of footpaths when there is a very, very important heat cable that runs over the top here. Yeah, need to be real careful about that. But anyway, back to modded gyms. Don't think that we're gonna have any issues squeezing this in here. Wonderful. Let's get that down. Let's build that, and then let's let the construction offices go to town on that front. So, I still think that we should be able to buy in all of our goods in our shops. The reason that I'm saying that with a little bit of hesitation is that I'm not sure. But the power supply, oh my god, the power supply is so catastrophically bad. Yeah, the reason that I'm saying that is because we are a little bit low on the old rubles, and I suspect that our loans are going to start defaulting at some point very, very soon indeed. I need more buses. I need more buses on this route. I have no idea why, but this route is just absolutely freaking abysmal, and I'm just super unhappy with the fact that it's not possible for our coal power plant to get the resources that it needs. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump into here. Let me see if I can buy some dollar buses, actually. 4 passengers. Now this is a personal car, but I can actually just get it to use... Yeah, I can actually just get it to deliver people. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna buy a whole bunch of beetles. A whole bunch of beetles. That's right. This is going to be a lesson in the absurd, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let's grab workers from here. There we go. It's not going to be a personal car. This is not a personal trip. This is a work trip. And then we're going to deposit people right into the power plant. That's right. If you work in Kolovsky, chances are you're either being forced down the mine or into the power plant. So, I mean, on the whole, a pretty miserable existence all around. Anyway, let's get this all rolled out here, and then let's start. And you know what? We're probably going to want to double down and maybe even get more cars at some point. But the fact that we don't have the power supply, even just for a millisecond, is just a disaster, to be honest. It really is. And I really don't understand where all of our workers are going. Like, I sincerely thought that we had more workers than this. Like, we got a lot of workers around here. It's just seemingly none of them are able to do anything. Which is a little bit of a shame, to be honest, but hey-ho. Okay, you know what? Let's move everyone out of here. Let's destroy this old city house, and let's go big. Let's go big. Let's go big. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get modded. We're gonna go residential. We're gonna go 21-story prefab flats, and we're gonna see if we can try and plonk down a couple of them in the footprint of the old townhouse. There we go. Leave space for a path. And squeeze this in here. Brilliant. Okay, now, that didn't connect the road up, even though it said it was going to give me a road there. Right. Well, I'm not happy about that, video game. I'm not happy that you promised me a road and you didn't deliver me a road. That's fine, though. Okay, how many rubles is that going to cost us? 34,000 rubles. We can at least complete with dollars. So, what the heck, eh? Okay. It's kind of close to the border, I think. Kind of close to the border. Let's not spend any more dollars. We could take out a loan, but I really do not think that it's necessary. Also, how overdue on our ruble loans are we? Amount overdue, 172,000. That's fine. Let's just continue to be overdue. It doesn't actually matter. I don't think that our population is starving, and therefore it's good. This is fine. Okay, last month, yeah, we had a fine number of deaths, fine number of escapes. This is okay. This is absolutely okay. Absolutely a-okay. Right, so next thing that we want to do is move people over from Turistovsky. Now, this, as I say, is still a problematic area. There is still... Excuse me? Oh, I accidentally moved all of the smart workers. That's fine. This is still a problematic area. There is still a very, very significant indeed, amount of pollution that is going around. Like a bad case of the flu. At the end of the day, though, don't particularly care because we need to get people on the bus stop, and I'm determined to actually do that. Because if we don't do that, then we're going to have problems. Right, so this area, you know what? I am going to destroy this coal power plant. That is something that I am going to do, and I am going to rezone. I'm going to rezone the next piece of power infrastructure. That's right, you guessed it. It is going to be the large coal power plant. So, the normal coal power plant puts out 1,400 megawatts and consumes how much? 24 tons of coal. This thing basically does 3 times that, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, looks to be 3 or 4 times, almost, actually. It's a monster. It's an absolute beast. An absolute beast. There is... what, like a route over here, perhaps? Place... we just need to give it so much space. That's the only problem. Yeah, you know what? I actually think that's probably fine. Yeah, okay, so let's get that zoned. I'm kind of okay with the length of time that it's going to take to construct this. What is it? 532 tons of steel. Only 650,000 rubles to build this absolute monster of a coal power plant. So, not actually that much money. Not actually that much money at all. I think that we can probably end up living with that. Yep, this is all assigned accordingly. Great. Okay, well that's good. That's good. So with these additional people, I have no doubt that we're going to be able to much more consistently end up powering our coal power plant with workers. So that's good. We also have this coal ore processing area coming online in a bit as well. I wonder, is it possible It's not possible to walk over here directly, but it's possible to change that. There we go. I stupidly decided to use rubles for that. That's my bad. It's a habit. Also, we are now completely out of rubles, and when we're completely out of rubles, that does indeed mean that we are going to end up suffering from food shortages. Yeah, so food is no longer able to be purchased if we're out of rubles, which does kind of worry me, because food is like one of these things that is, you know, kind of essential for life, actually, now that I think about it. So unfortunately, I think that we're gonna have to take another 500,000 ruble loan here, just to keep us liquid. 6.9% rate of interest. Oh my lordy. Okay, well, let's take out a 1 year 500,000 ruble loan. Half of that is going to immediately disappear in overdue interest payments. That's fine, though. That's absolutely fine. We don't need to worry about it. We should now have made, yeah, walking distance, hopefully, walking distance should now hopefully be manageable. No, it's not manageable. Why is it not manageable? Aha! I know what the problem is. We need a pathway connecting over here. There we go. Okay, so let's build that. Again, I use rubles. It's a really bad habit that I have. Either way, this should now allow us to use, yeah, many workers in the construction process over here. Let's check on our bitumen power plant. I would actually anticipate progress is probably going very quickly. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And it's going to go even more quickly if I stick it in double time speed. This is great news. This is very good news indeed. Let me see. The asphalt plant can't produce asphalt. I mean, yes it can. I don't know what you're talking about there, video game. It categorically absolutely can as soon as we get our workers back. But that's not a problem. I'm going to assign a brand new bespoke construction. I'm going to assign this and this both to be constructed by the construction office down next to the border. The reason being is that this area has got concrete trucks, which I think we're probably going to need. Asphalt and concrete is really the sort of problem. I guess the problem with this whole process is that we just don't have enough of it, and we don't have enough of it being moved to the locations that it needs to be moved to. Yeah. There we go. Missing power supply? How on earth is this even possible? I simply do not understand. I simply do not understand. We've got workers that are being dropped off directly. There we go. We got workers that are being dropped off directly. We've got people... Okay, this should never happen again. We should never, ever have a power shortage ever again. The crazy thing is that I still think that we're fine for power production, I think. I say that I think we're fine, but it looks like we're maxed out on our power production. I wonder if... Yeah, there we go. So it's dropped back down. So I'm assuming that it maxed out because we needed to sort of charge up all of our cable infrastructure. But now that we're getting on top of that, it's dropped down to a pretty reasonable level indeed. Either way, as long as we're able to keep people in the power plant, we should be just fine. We got plenty of people arriving. I've got more buses that are actually on the route, which is really good. Yeah, okay. So that's fine. That's grand. Rubles as well. Rubles are looking a little bit shifty, but that's okay. Absolutely okay on that front. We got loads and loads of people that are actually working on the construction site here, which is a little bit concerning, because if they're working on the construction site, then that means that they're not working somewhere else. And that could present a problem. In good news, though, looks like we are extracting enough coal to at least be reasonably happy. I presume that the pollution monitoring overlay, yep, it's still very unhappy with me. It's still very unhappy with me. But, you know, you live and you learn. And by live and you learn, I mean, you know, we must sacrifice for the greater good. It simply must be done. There is no other way. I'm just so confused as to why there are so many people in this gosh darn town, and none of them are able to find their way to the coal power plant to get to work. It is a huge abdication of duty. It really is. It really is. I wonder if it's because everyone's seeking treatment from inhaling too much coal dust. I think that might be it. Alternatively, it could be down to the fact that we have pretty much everyone trying to work at the construction site. This is a very nice construction site to work at. Let's maybe see if we can try and crank that down a little bit, given that we are after concretes, and concrete is taking a little bit of time to be delivered. Also, you know what I should do? I should straight up just connect up a road over here, just so that things are able to access these buildings, or trucks are able to access this building a shade faster. That's the plan anyway. Okay. I mean, bringing this up online is not necessarily going to fix our problems. We do need to extract a little bit more coal. Let's actually just suspend construction momentarily, and instead let's pour all of our resources, literally pour all of our resources, and by resources I mean concrete, pour all of our resources into this processing building over here. That seems like a pretty good, idea. How's the bitumen plant coming along? It's just conveniently, actually, entered the next stage of production, which means that we are going to see all of the trucks leap into action, and we're going to see everyone scrambling to try and pick up a whole bunch of resources from this vicinity over here, and this is going to strain our supply of goods a little bit, but to be honest, we have plenty of goods, and I don't anticipate that being a long-term problem. So boards, steel, prefab panels, and most importantly, concrete is all required in huge quantities. Very, very large quantities indeed. I mean, financially, everything is looking fine. Everything is looking absolutely remarkable. What can I say? I'm surprised. The tourists are looking good too. So that's great. We do need to double this line up here. I know that I keep saying it. We do need to fix it. But to be honest, given that we've moved a fairly significant number of people out of Turistovsky, not necessarily worried about that. At least for a little while, anyway. We still have plenty of housing room available in Turistovsky, most probably because I, moved many people out of their houses and forcibly relocated them to Kolovskaysky, which is probably a pretty gosh darned awful place to work, but it's fine. The gym is almost done in the center of town as well, which is great. This is looking marvelous. This bitumen plant may very well be done by the end of this episode. I know that sounds a little absurd, but sincerely, probably possible, actually. Wow, we were able to finish the supply pipeline very, very quickly indeed. Will we need a pumping station in here? We may very well need a pumping station in here. I may have miscalculated that one. We may have to have a sucking station to suck all of the bitumen out of the oil/fuel storage system. The reason, by the way, that this area just works so darn well is that we've got automatic bitumen deliveries to the oil/fuel storage area. If somehow we're able to deplete all of our locally produced bitumen, then you know what? It's fine. We import it from our Western capitalist friends, and we should be just fine because we're on the border, and therefore it's going to be very, very cheap. Not like bitumen is particularly expensive to import anyway. But, just something to consider. Man, the average lifespan in Krudenovsky is abysmal, actually. It's, wow, tragic. Really, really tragic. We do have a number of people still working at refineries. We're still processing pretty much every little ounce of oil that we can extract from the ground. I really, really do wish that we had a larger, more profitable source. That would be tremendously helpful. But at the end of the day, not necessarily the end of the world. We can probably cope with it. Looks like our power is a little bit more stable. Looks like it's a little bit more stable, but again, that's perhaps not a completely fair statement. There does seem to be an element of inconsistency in the whole thing. But yeah, we're managing for the most part to keep everyone happy. I really do want to see when this is going to be up and running. This is an important building. It's concrete. Yeah, this is exactly why I allocated some concrete trucks from the construction office over here. Also, look at our dollars. Holy cow, we have burned through a lot of dollars. But that's kind of to be expected because we're importing a lot of steel. And Stalnoy is not yet completed. As much as I would dearly love it to be, it has not been completed yet, and I cannot wait for the day where it is actually properly completed. But the good news is that we are using mostly local resources, which is exciting. Yeah, look at this. We're loading up this truck with steel, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, we are now completely out of dollars. Yeah, wowzers. I don't necessarily think that taking out a dollar loan is particularly bad here. The only problem with not having dollars in the bank is that it means we're not going to be able to import meat or import food or anything like that. And you know, there are places that need to have continual dollar flows. 32 tourists coming in. That's wonderful to see. It's not as many as we need. We need more to sustain this operation here. Yeah, I think maybe taking out a couple of small dollary loans is the way forward. I mean, what's our rate of interest? 6.5. I'm pretty sure that our dollar rate of interest is somehow linked to our ruble rate of interest. Nothing to prove that though. Right, we'll borrow 90k at a rate of 3.3% for a year. It's just gonna allow us to build that little bit faster, you know. And given that the bitumen power plant is really that important, it's probably a worthwhile investment. And actually, we have 156 people on the construction site at this moment in time, which is kind of remarkable. Kind of remarkable. In a major way, that is incredible. Okay, there's a fire at the flats in Krudnovsky. I mean, this whole area is just so cursed. I wonder if average lifespan is linked to the number of fires. Like, I wonder if you're more likely to want to burn your house down if your average life expectancy is like, you know, 35. I know that sounds like a joke query, but you never know. It actually might be. Might be serious. Look at all of the people that are just atrophying out of here. We're just losing so many gosh darn people. I mean, soon it's going to get to the point where we just don't have the numbers to maintain the heating plants. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. We're gonna have to forcibly move people from Turistovsky again. At least, thankfully, I think the people of Turistovsky have got a pretty decent lifespan. What do we got here? Yeah, average lifespan 82. I mean, even next to the gravel area, the gravel mine, and the gravel processing plant. The gravel processing plant is probably the worst for pollution over here. But even, you know, even in Turistovsky, even in the worst bits, it's still good. It's still completely fine. It looks like that dollar loan has been tremendously helpful, and we're still after a little bit of concrete. We got a lot of buses arriving, but not a lot of them are. Not a lot of them matter because we don't have concrete. There we go. How much more concrete do we need? About 400 tons. But we've actually pretty much sorted out our steel. We've got one more truck that has got 50 tons of steel on. And then we're pretty much done. Yeah, this is the last steel truck, I believe. This is remarkable. This is absolutely remarkable. I'm kind of delighted that we're going to be able to finish this as quickly as we are. I anticipate that we're going to be able to finish it anyway. I don't want to accidentally jinx it, but I mean, things are looking very good here. It's just concrete delivery that is proving to be a problem. As I say, pretty much anything down in this bottom right-hand corner, we're able to build super duper quickly because we've got this open storage right here that is ready to pump out literally anything that we need to pump out. New vehicle type available. It's a ZIL 135. Excellent. Well, that's delightful. That is delightful. I don't particularly care. We can probably manage. We can probably manage for a little while. Without buying a ZIL. Okay, gravel's in a little bit of a short supply here. Yeah, kind of didn't really anticipate that we would need as much gravel as we do in order to make concrete. We just need more gravel than we really have access to at this moment in time. Also, why am I still importing steel? What am I importing steel for? Coal ore processing plant. Really? Oh, we just have, okay, we have a lot of steel work left to be done on that. I thought we were more advanced in the steel work department there. That's not necessarily a problem. Another $90,000 loan will keep us afloat. Ruble wise, I think we're just gonna go into more and more and more debt. I think we just go deeper into debt and we just sort of say, screw it, that's fine, we'll sort of eat that. Yeah. I think that's the play here. Right. Dollars we should be fine for. As soon as we stop buying steel, we're basically completely fine. Speaking of steel, and more specifically speaking of aluminium. Also, I should just reallocate these trucks that I moved across at the beginning of the episode. I should move them back here. Yeah, this is something that I should have done a while ago. No idea why I didn't, but we've just been wasting a little bit of valuable aluminium production. There we go. This area is absolutely buzzing. Yeah, what I was gonna check at the start of the episode was to see if we can make this a little bit of a tighter road. If I can make this road ever so slightly tighter, then that would mean that we'd be able to, you know, smash down a couple of additional aluminium extractors, which would be very, very exciting indeed. All right, that's a no-go. Okay, excellent. That's actually, yeah, pretty respectable. Nice. Okay. So, does that allow us to fit in any extra bauxite mines over here? It totally does, you know? That's the crazy thing, is that it totally freaking does. Okay. Right in there. Right in there. Yeah. And right in there. Okay, now, we need to absolutely make sure that this isn't gonna be inaccessible. That's going to be inaccessible. That's probably also going to be inaccessible. Moving this is no great challenge. Moving this is no great challenge, but we'll need to find a way. We'll need to find a way to connect up a conveyor here, and I have absolutely zero idea how that's going to work. There's more bauxite mines that could be put in this vicinity as well. Boy, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Okay, so this gets destroyed. There's a fire, by the way, as well. This gets destroyed. Let's take this up, take this up, take this up. Sure. Take this up, take this up. Excellent. Let's see if we can try and stick down a little substation over here. Honestly, the more central it is, the better, I think. Although, that may prove to be a problem, as the footprint of buildings is not really what it looks like. It's actually a lot larger. Yeah, let's actually see if we can try and stick it down there. I know that looks kind of crazy, but we'll roll with it for now. This aggregate truck unloading, never really that useful, unfortunately. Never really that useful. Let's ditch it. Let's ditch it. Let's ditch this as well. This road will need to be reconnected at some point in the future. But for now, you know what? Freaking bauxite mining. That's what we're after. Okay, so, yeah, something like this. Yeah. And then something like that. Okay, so that's 4 additional bauxite mines here. Now, this is where things get a little bit funky. Where are we going to stick the conveyor engine transfers? I think that I have a rough idea, to be honest. I think that I have a rough idea. I think we do this. I prefer the path. I prefer the pathway conveyor towers. There we go. There we go. I really do not want to connect up anything else here, so let's get one of these. There we go. Yes, good. Forget about the road for a mere second, and then let's see if we can try and squeeze this in here. The issue is that I need it to connect up from this conveyor right over here. Like, that's good. That is good, but it's also slightly problematic. Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll throw this in here. Again, because we want to make sure that it all flows into the storage yard, and then it can flow out into all of these 3 bauxite mining areas equally. Now the real issue comes. Now the real issue comes with regards to fire prevention. Apparently, this isn't even slightly an issue. Can we even fit a road, like, right through here? We can even fit a road right through here. Okay, this isn't even a problem. This isn't even a freaking problem. I mean, pathways are super easy to connect up at the best of times anyway, so... sure. Screw it. New pathway. We're celebrating. There we go. Man, I love these conveyor engine transfer towers. These are a fantastic mod. This is excellent. Okay, ditch that. Reconnect this up. Okay. Alright, well, I mean, I'm pretty happy to let that sort of just be built at the game's pace. I don't really think that there's anything here that needs to be built at such a rate that we have to auto-build it, with the exception of the power plant, which we are going to auto-build with dollars. Now, this also shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, there we go. Cables are easy to connect up. Pads are easy to connect up. Not even close to an issue. Not even close to an issue. There was a fire. It was at a gymnasium over in Stalnoy. Now, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that that did indeed happen, because I want to see what we've got going on over in Stalnoy. Okay, the ore processing plant is actually quite close to finishing up here. It's just costing rather a large amount in steel, which is the big old problem. However, I will say this needs to be connected with a freaking road, which it thus far hasn't been. I will say that everything over here is looking really, really good. The iron mine is coming along. We need a little bit of mechanical components, but I wonder, is there any ability for us to do that? Missing truck with open hull. We've got the ability to transport mechanical components, and apparently we're just not. Okay. I mean, look, the fact of the matter is that progress is being made on some of these buildings. The conveyors are seemingly being built first. That's fine. That's fine. We can wait for stuff to happen over here. It's not necessarily the end of the world. Same with Bolshoi Alamon. This is probably going to be built pretty rapidly. We've got a pretty big, construction office setup over here, and I wouldn't be surprised if all of this stuff was built a lot more quickly than I anticipate. And either way, we managed to move some trucks back over here, which means that we're going to be getting a little bit of extra. Oh my goodness, I am financially naked, which is not a very nice image. There we go. Let's get some dollar loans, and let's get some ruble loans as well. Again, it's temporary. It's temporary. We're moving gravel over here. We're moving concrete over here. We're probably going to suffer a massive gravel shortage in a little bit. And in fact, we might already be suffering from it. Remember when I said that concrete requires gravel to make? Like, I don't know, 10 minutes ago? Yeah, it's not the gravel production that's the problem, believe it or not. It's actually the gravel moving. So the gravel moving is done by aggregate truck loading? No. Here, yes, this one. It's done by the medium distribution office, and we have a whole bunch of dumpers. The problem is that we have nowhere near enough dumpers to actually do all of the dumping and all of the gravel moving. So we could probably do with another entire distribution office of just gravel moving trucks. We only have 120 tons of gravel at the large aggregate storage, and that, that distribution office has been running for a pretty considerable length of time. But it looks like, truth be told, we're fine for gravel. We're fine for gravel, at least for now. So that's great news. We're just after a little bit more concrete, and concrete really is the only thing that's holding us back. We still need another 210 tons of steel. Flip in heck. That is a lot of steel. That is a lot of steel. This area is looking good though. Let's bump this up to 25. Let's get this finished slightly quicker. Okay, well at least we've managed to build a gym over the course of this episode. That is something at least. Krudenovsky is burning. Kolovskaysky is burning. What else is happening? We're making progress on the 21-story prefab flats, although again, that's going to take a little while. It looks like, by hook or by crook, we have managed to solve the Kolovskaysky coal power plant problems, which is excellent. This area is also, or this coal power plant, should I say, is also consuming a whole bunch of gravel. This is looking good. We need 20 tons of steel, 4.2 tons of mechanical components. All of these are being paid for with flipping dollars, which I really didn't think that we were doing that poorly for, but apparently we absolutely are. How are we doing in terms of tourist numbers? good. We're doing really, really good in terms of tourist numbers. Everything is looking absolutely fine. Average trip rating is 2.6 stars. Western tourists freaking love. They freaking love coming to my republic. This is excellent. This is really, really good. But we can still do more. We can still do a lot more, to be honest. Like, we've not really come close to taking in, you know, the number of Western tourists that we can. What the heck is going on over here? Little dance around. I have no idea. Yeah, I really would like, I really would like to get a, I'd really like to get a hydropower plant. I wonder if it's possible. Just sort of thinking ahead. I don't think that we want a hydropower plant quite yet, but I wonder if it's possible for us to do something like, this, where we perhaps create like a little bit of a, an inroad here. I know this is like absolutely absurd, and in actuality this wouldn't work. But I mean, if I was to terraform the landscape, which I'm obviously not going to do now, but if I was to terraform the landscape in such a way that I created a massive sort of indent in the land that didn't actually interfere with the shipping lanes, but did actually allow the hydropower plant to be placed on water, I wonder if that would be possible. I feel like it's a little bit cheesy. So let me know in the comments if you think that this is an allowable maneuver. Apparently I said that I'm not doing it, but apparently I am doing it. Honestly, because the speed at which we're able to terraform the landscape with this number of excavators is purely magic. It's quite incredible, really. Because I mean, we're not going to do anything with this space anyway, right? Like, we're not holding on to this precious space next to the border for anything specific. Although that being said, I mean, production facilities of the aircraft or car variety would do very, very nicely over here. I'm going to continue to take out some tiny little dollar loans. There's no reason not to, right? Like, we have shown that we have the ability to provably pay back our dollar loans. Okay, so we're a shade too large here. This is actually remarkably interesting. Level terrain from center. Let's do that. Let's do that over here. Legitimately, I think this is gonna work. And I kind of can't believe it. Okay, so now it's a question of legality. It's actually gonna work. That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. So if I do this, let me test this just purely from a testing standpoint. Let's not build it. Let's not build it. I will commit to not building it until I have permission from the comments. Okay, so that looks good, right? Like, we can straight up just get the exports. Oh, no. I didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to zone the construction. I just meant to test to see if we could actually build the high voltage wires. I have no idea if this is actually going to produce power. I presume that it is. Also, what's stopping us from stacking up just multiple hydropower plants? Also, how much does this cost to build? 403,000 rubles. I mean, that's actually a fairly competitive price. I know that it doesn't produce anywhere near as much electricity as the coal power plant does, but the coal power plant costs 300 and something. So it's a fairly competitive, it's a fairly competitively priced power option. Okay, continue to take out $90,000 loans. This is just to pay for our steel. It would have been a really great idea to perhaps start with Stalnoy, and, you know, instead of spending this, you know, ludicrous number of Western dollars on flipping, you know, daft investments like steel, instead we could be using locally produced steel. But at this point, I'm in a state of absolutely needing power at all costs. So therefore, you know, you better believe that I will look into every single option available to us. We are absolutely categorically going to get this done. We have one last truck of steel to stomach, and we got a couple of additional bits of concrete to be delivered, but for the most part, I mean, we're just flying through this. We've got, what, 4 tower cranes on site, the best tower cranes that money can buy. If they're Soviet tower cranes, they're probably not great, but they are the best that money can buy, which is okay. How are debts looking? Debts are looking okay. Debts are looking very, very under control. Yeah, very, very, very fine. Over the course of the year, not great, but that's fine. Absolutely fine. We're still after a little bit more concrete. This last stage is going to be coming online very, very soon indeed, in fact. So we got that to look forward to. After we get done with this, what do we do? Well, there are two things that we want to do. Let me not pause. Let me continue to see this get built. Two things that we want to do. First and foremost, we have a existing power network over here. This existing power network is looking fine. However, this area where we're currently exporting rubles to, I think we want to crank it up. I think we want to crank it up to the absolute max. The bitumen power plant, I believe, can produce... How much power can it produce? It can produce 2,000... It can produce 2,520. So if we're able to fully staff this facility, then all that we theoretically really need to do is crack in a power splitter, a splitter. First of all, we're going to take this back because we don't want to export any power to the foreign power connection on the same network. So what we can do, and the reason that we don't want to will become clear in just a second, but it's primarily because we're just not able to fit enough mega voltage through the wires. So if I crank this up, this basically consumes an entire high voltage wire, the best variety of the best high voltage wire. So let's actually just completely take this out. Right? Completely take this out. Cool. Very, very happy with that. And then what we want to do is we want to have basically a bespoke cable. A bespoke cable. That's an unnecessary pylon right there. Bespoke cable coming across here. Nice. And ooh, yeah. Are we going to be able to squeeze this round the... Oh, we're going to be able to squeeze this round the border. I simply don't believe it. Okay. Building is in the way. This could prove to be problematic. It's a shame because we want to have, as I say, a bespoke connection going straight to the border, and then... It's got to be possible. It's got to be possible. It's got to be possible. What about, like, looping it round the building? Ah-ha-ha! Oh, look, it's so possible. It's so very possible. Outside map borders. I don't know how this doesn't count as outside the map border, but okay, that's hilarious. Love to see it. And then bring this over here. And then, oh, no. Undo. There we go. And then connect this up. So that is the bespoke power connection. Let's get that built right now. I don't even know how much steel that's gonna be. Probably a lot. Either way, we should be able to basically like max out that connection the entire darn time, and then all of the overflow should just run into the network. So that brings with it two advantages. First and foremost, it means that, you know, we will only export power to the border when we have people working in the bitumen power plant, which produces like an element of stability for the coal power plant over here. It also means, you know, rather selfishly, that we can just crank up the exports to the western border over here without fear of going over the top. It is a dedicated connection, so in an ideal world, we actually should be able to export, I mean, an entire wire full. But, you know, at the moment, we just don't have the capacity for that, so so we'll have to keep that in mind. Okay, 12 megawatts. That's quite a lot of megawatts that we're exporting. Yeah, maybe we tone that down just a little bit. Take it down to 10. We can always adjust as and when is required. But anyway, we need to sort out the bitumen connection over here. The bitumen connection. Let's do... I will actually auto-build this. Yeah, so disconnect this high voltage switch in here. What do we want to auto-build this with? Dollars? Did I build that with rubles? Okay, I'll build that with dollars. There we go. Okay, thankfully we had enough. The high voltage switch is working just fine. And then let's bring this down here. It looks like trash, but it's actually totally fine. Building is in the way. Okay, we'll approach from a different angle, and we will build. Okay, so I don't know how much steel that is. 64 tons. Okay, we're gonna have to stomach another 20-30,000 rubles. Not rubles, dollars. $20,000-$30,000 worth of steel purchases, but that's absolutely fine. We'll connect that up to the network there. That's looking grand. Still don't think that it's really going to be too much of a hassle to get this all sorted. We probably should be able to get it built. I cannot believe that we're going to get the bitumen power plant up and running, and I can't believe that we're going to get it up and running right now. Again, we still may have to pump something. We may have to stick a pump in here somewhere. I don't know. I don't care. We can deal with that as and when is required. I'm just excited to see that this is actually going to be complete, and it's going to be complete in like a very, very, very short time frame here. It really, truly is absolutely excellent. Okay. But as long as our debts aren't looking crazy, which they're absolutely not, then that tells me that we still have the money to auto import food, which is pretty important. And everything is looking just fine. Turistovsky has not been having a good time recently. We've forcefully relocated a bunch of people. Not exactly over the moon about having to do that. We need more adults that are living with parents. That's when we really know that we're in a pretty good place. I really want to crank up the births a little bit, but unfortunately there's nothing that I can really do to crank up the births as far as I'm aware. I think maybe global events can affect births, but I'm not so sure. Either way, we probably want to stick down a church here. We might do that in the next episode. Yeah, Leningradsky Hotel has got a lot of tourists complaining about not being able to visit a church. It's fine. Doesn't particularly matter. Yeah, Disneylandovsk also hasn't really seen much attention recently, but I mean, at the end of the day, frankly, we need to get our economy sorted. Oh, look, we did it. The bitumen power plant is completely up and running. Are we building this? We are indeed building the high voltage wires. My goodness gracious me, we're already like a quarter of the way through there. A quarter of the way through the process. What about over here? Wowzers, we're making crazy progress. That's absolutely brilliant. Bitumen doesn't look like it's being imported automatically, which is slightly problematic. And we may in fact need to get a pump. Do I want to preemptively get a pump? I feel like that might be the play. The only problem is, will I have to destroy the whole darn thing? Doesn't look like I'll have to destroy the whole darn thing. Let me try from a different angle, because I can't seem to delete the bit of pipe that I want to delete. Sure, we'll delete that bit of pipe. That's okay. Do I have a modded conveyor? Or a pipe engine, should I say? I do have the forwarding pump. And actually, the forwarding pump might just be pretty much exactly what we require. Too sharp of a turn. No problem. There we go. Also too sharp of a turn. I mean, look, this is a pretty cheap modification here. I can probably afford to do this with dollars. Yeah, I can definitely afford to do this with dollars. There we go. Bitumen is now being transported. Excellent. And all it required was a little forwarding pump there. So now we're just waiting for the high voltage wires to finish up. That will cost rather a large amount of steel. But, you know, we can rectify that by taking out a couple of dollar loans again. Either way, I'm not really bothered about having dollar loans anymore. The reason that I'm not particularly bothered about it is because I know that we can deal with it. I know that we can deal with it, and all of this is just a temporary expenditure, and it's just a temporary expenditure purely to speed things up. Purely to speed things up. That is the only real requirement here, is speed. And once we get our power security sort of a little bit more established, then we should be able to export a whole bunch of power, which is very, very nice indeed. To be honest, we may not even require any more dollars, any more steel at all. In fact, it's becoming autumn. Autumn scares me. I don't like autumn. We are repurchasing steel up to the 20% mark. Not super challenging. I think we've actually got all of our steel. We just need workers now. It's kind of crazy, but yeah. Wowzers. Can't actually believe that this ended up working out as well as it did. Cool. Very, very cool indeed. Alright. Can't go to school because there is no school places available. Oh yeah, that's a bit of a problem. We're probably gonna have to build a school over here. Modded school. Plonk down one of this thing. There we go. Let's do that. Again, video game, you lied to me about the road being constructed there. There we go. It can be constructed, and it will be constructed by the construction offices. Now that the construction offices have pretty much finished up with all of the bitumen-related missions, we can afford for them to instead be stuck onto, you know, back to residential construction projects and whatnot. Either way, looking pretty good. Looking pretty darn good. We're actually almost done with our... This is our export line. There we go. Good stuff. We're ready to start work. So, we're exporting a tiny amount of power right now. Exporting it to the Disneyland Foreign Power Connection. Let's crank that right up to 18. There's absolutely no reason to. Again, the good thing is that we're only going to be exporting when we have the people. The unfortunate reality is that I don't think that we have altogether too many buses that are doing worker delivery to this bus stop. And believe it or not, we actually do need rather a large number of buses to do people delivery over here now. I mean, if we want to have a continuous supply of bitumen, so we should probably look to increase the number of buses that we have on this route a little bit. This is chaos, by the way. This is absolutely chaos. I kind of love it. I kind of love it. Also, we do still need to upgrade the central road through town. I know. It's something that we need to do. But I mean, honestly, all things are looking up. This is looking absolutely fine. I haven't really checked on Aluminov in a little while. How are things going here? We got a couple of conveyors in place. We got a couple of work days needed to finish the first stage of production on a couple of these processes. But to be honest, I don't think that I'm too dissatisfied with how things are looking on the ruble front. In fact, I think that, yeah, throughout this, we've actually made a considerable amount of money. We've made a considerable amount of money, certainly in the ruble department. You know, dollars, we continually spend a lot of them, but that's fine. It's not necessarily a problem. It's a speed thing. This is a very, very core bit of infrastructure. If this gets destroyed, I will be very upset. Very, very, very upset. But we should be absolutely fine. Absolutely gosh darn fine. Average lifespan 64. Man, that is depressing. That is tragic. Absolutely tragic. Are we working on the... We're working on the large coal power plant. The reason, by the way, that I'm okay for us to work on the large coal power plant is because the first stage of production, the first couple of stages of production of a large project like this, it's gravel, it's asphalt, it's concrete. None of it's really expensive. And, you know, we've got it in relative abundance. I say relative abundance. Gravel we've got plenty of, but it's proving to be a problem to move out to all of the places that it needs to be moved out. I mean, okay, this is all looking pretty darn good. Ruble wise, we should see a massive increase. As I say, we're going to be maxing out our connection over here. We're already exporting 18 megawatts, which is really pretty darn good, and should allow us to make just that little bit more cash. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. At the same time, our power security has probably fixed itself. That is a new aircraft. That is very, very exciting. Yeah, our power security is probably going to be a little bit better, given that we now have an alternative source of power on the network, which is very, very exciting. At the moment, we are getting pretty irregular deliveries of workers to the bitumen power plant. It's not necessarily a problem at this stage, although we'd look to fix that probably quite quickly, and I'd hope that we'd be able to do so. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna wrap this episode up. Man, oh man, oh man, fixing power, I can't believe it, but look at that. Look at that glorious, absolutely glorious bitumen-powered plant. It is incredible. It's belching out a tremendous amount of pollution, but that's not my problem. or it's not my problem right at this moment in time. It's a problem for the future. Anyway, folks, thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know in the comments whether you think that I should be allowed to build the hydropower plant. I mean, in a little bit of a cheesy fashion. I mean, now that we've got our power situation sorted, maybe it's just a nice little bonus. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you as ever to all the fantastic support over on the Patreon page, patreon.com/potato. Thanks to Banana, C Senpai, and Aurelio for being the $3 $25+ tier patrons. Thank you very much for watching, folks. I'll see you next time. Bye.